Hello, lads, ladies, and lovelies. Happy 2024. I almost said 2023 there. That is incorrect. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I hope you had a absolutely lovely Christmas and a New Year. It's so great to be back. I'm not gonna lie. Um I so can't wait to get back into reading and streaming, but that does mean going back to our normal lives, I'm afraid. But yes, hello. Welcome, welcome. I hope everyone is having a lovely day and a lovely previous year and ready to start the new year. So yeah, welcome everyone. It's gonna take a bit to get used to this. It's been a while, but I thought to start 2024 with a video that I kind of had a mind of wanting to do for a while, but I felt like I wouldn't be able to do it monthly because I'm a very slow reader and life can get in the way sometimes. So I thought yearly is a very good place to start. So I thought I'll do rewind back in time to the books of what I had read throughout 2023. And don't worry, it's not a lot of books, but I thought that it would be a good start, and hopefully it will encourage me to read more. And yes, I had. Oh, well, both me and my boyfriend had bought a lot of books last year as well, so which I'm very eager to get stuck into. So, um, let's start by saying, well, again, Happy New Year. And do let me know what books you guys have read throughout 2023, and what books are you thinking of reading throughout 2024. I can't believe 2023 is gone already. It feels like only yesterday that we got a new year for 2023. It's so bizarre how fast it has gone. Okay, so first off, we're gonna start with quite a big book series that I started just last year, and it ended up lasting for about till summer because it was quite a big series. It was a 5 big books within the series, and I'm sure some Danmei fans know exactly what I'm talking about. So we'll start off with talking about Jesus, they're huge. The Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, or apologies if I pronounce this incorrectly, Modao Zushi, and these are the MXTX books, and MXTX is the abbreviation of the author's name, well, the author's pseudonym's name, Mo Xiang Tong Shui. You might know her from might know this author from Writing Heaven's Official Blessing, one of another popular books that she had read. But these are what I've read at the beginning of last year. And I very much enjoyed them. And I do recommend these books a lot. These books, oh God! That's right, drop some books, why not, Lily? I'm such a pro book reviewer. But yeah, I do recommend these books entirely. But if you don't have these books, or if you can't find them anywhere, it doesn't matter, because I know they are extremely popular. You can watch the live action series called The Untamed on Netflix. That show is heavily inspired by these books, and there is also an official Chinese TV channel that you can find on YouTube, where it would have the animation style of Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. The problem is that you won't be able to watch them without being a member, so you would have to pay a £4 membership to watch the thing this in the Chinese membership. I can't remember what it's called. I will find it and then put it down in the description. But these books you can find in your local book in your bookshop. For England, you can find them in Waterstones in the manga section. For Americans, Barnes and Nobles, I believe your bookshop is called. I don't know if it's within around the section, but I would say you have more chance of finding it in a manga and anime section, because these are considered light novels. They don't feel light, they are very heavy. I'm going to put them down. So and I think I gave these different ratings. So I think what I have a issue with at the beginning is because it likes to alternate between present and past. Present of what is the crime that has been happening. It starts off with two juniors from a clan called the Gusu clan. It's investigating a series of excuse me, investigating some sort of suspicious ghost activity that's been going around a certain family that would have a connection to certain clans, connection to certain people. And after the resurrection of Wei Wuxian within a different person's body named Mo Xuanyu, end up caught in the midst of the activities that has been happening. And everything is just, you won't know this until later on within the series, but you can visually connect everything that has been going around from past to present, to people, to clans, or to the events that has been happening. And it's such an amazing adventure. I think I very much enjoyed the first book. The second book, I think the third book, I gave it a bit of a low rating because the past and the present was a little bit, it was too alternating. But it really does, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it was a little bit confusing around some areas. So it got and then you're being introduced to new characters. I think I got a little bit in a tiff with this one, because this is where we actually meet Wen Qing, Wen Ning's sister, who was my favorite character from the Untamed. And it just seemed like there's some missed potential within the book. I feel like it doesn't show how great she is within the books as much as she was in the show. So I think I was in a little bit of a tiffy fit. Still very good book. And we've got 4 that really you can visually see the relationship blossoming between Wei Wuxian and Lan Zhan. And on the 5th one, where somewhere like at the just before the middle of the book, that's where the main story ends. And then after that, you get some short stories of how intimate the 2 main characters are. So yeah, these are this is where I test my strength. These are the 5 books that I've read at the beginning of the year. I'll do these one by one because I can't hold them as a fan. So we have the first book, Beautiful. This shows when Wei Wuxian, this is when they were teenagers. This is where Wei Wuxian ends up doing teachings within the Gusu clan, him with Jiang Cheng and naming Wei, if I remember correctly, the boy with the fan. And he has an older brother who is the leader of the Nei clan, who is very muscle, very, very all about the brute force. So them, and that's where he first meets Lan Zhan, and they have a bit of a tiff between them, because they have different ideologies, they have different opinions about certain things. One is very laid back, he's very open, and he's not afraid to speak his mind, and is quite opinionated. And another one is very, 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 very linear, very strict to rules, very quiet. He's more of the, he won't judge with words, he judges with eyes kind of character. So you can see very polar opposites, but they do complement each other. Number 2, this is where they end up working together. This is where they're focusing on a town that is being plagued by a little girl ghost. Oh God, I remember the girl ghost, the blind girl ghost. So Wei Wuxian went into her past to figure out what happened to her, and it gives a light about about a very notorious murderer who just goes around and loves killing people. What's his name? Shui Yang. So that was good. That was important, and also it doesn't give light about other characters as well. So the problem I have with the later books, I will get to them by the way, is that they show that there's other characters, but then don't really flesh them out. But I don't have a problem with the secondary characters in these books. So while it does focus about the main the relationship between the two main characters, that doesn't mean that they're going to neglect the other characters. Okay, you get to know about Wen Ning and his sister. You will get to know about the two juniors from the Gusu clan. You get to know about Jin Ling, who ends up finding out that he is related to Jiang Cheng, which means that he is the son of Jiang Yanli and Jin Zhishuan, who are also very important because they're connected to certain very important people that end up being ending up becoming fitting into any crimes or suspicious activities that had been going on. It's incredible. I do love it. Just because that you want to focus on the relationships of the two main characters doesn't mean you should neglect the secondary characters. They are there, flesh them out. They are just as important, if you know what I mean. But yes, we got number 3, which focuses on changes between from Wei Wuxian. He was in the burial mount thanks to the Wen clan, or the leader of the Wen clan, or the leader's son of the Wen clan. He came back. He has a flute and has the powers to control dead people like the puppet. And Lan Zhan is not happy with that. He doesn't like that it's dark magic, and you can see it changes Wei Wuxian very much so. Very much. The 4th one focuses on the crime that has been happening and getting to the bottom of what is with these suspicious activities. Are they related to each other? And getting to the bottom of who is responsible for all of this, and also focusing on the relationship blossoming between Wei Wuxian and Lan Zhan. And then the 5th one is basically a happy ending, a very, very, very happy ending for Wei Wuxian and Lan Zhan. So, love these. If you're a big BL fan, such as myself, I do recommend these. I think this is probably my opinion. I think these are very good starting points to the MXTX series. So she has Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, which is this one. The Scum Villain Self-Saving System. I haven't finished the entire series of that, but there is that. So there's 3 series of that book, plus the 4th volume, which is just short stories. And then you have the most popular one, Heaven's Official Blessing. Now, the reason why I say this is a good starting point for MXTX is because Heaven's Official Blessing is still continuing. So it hasn't really finished. Whilst of Demonic Cultivation has, as well as Scum Villain Self-Saving System. But I think it's good to wait to do Heaven's Official Blessing last, because there's already like 8 volumes of that book, and I don't know if the writing is still continuing. It's a very big series, so it's always good to warm up first before getting into a big series such as Heaven's Official Blessing. However, if you feel the need to read Heaven's Official Blessing, go ahead, because I'm watching the anime as well. Beautiful beautiful characters, and I'm loving the story so far. But yes, this is Grandmaster Demonic Cultivation that I've read at the beginning of the year. Next, sorry, I am looking. So the next book that I have read after this series was recommended to me by my dad, who is a big fan of the author, but he's not originally an author. He was originally a comedian, a British comedian. I don't know if people have heard of Reeves and Mortimer. I maybe watched like panel shows like Would I Lie to You, and seen him doing like comedy shows and things like that. Unfortunately, I don't have the physical book with me because I returned it to my father. It was his book, but next book I read is The Satsuma Complex by Bob Mortimer. Now at first I was unsure. I don't know what to expect. At first I thought it was another autobiography book because I know he did a autobiography book which I've yet to read, but I don't know what to expect from this. I thought it was weird for him to write another autobiography right after his autobiography, but then I thought, oh, okay, why not? And then it ends up being a fictional drama book that centers around a main character called Gary, who meets up with a girl called Emily and then ends up becoming fixated on her because he has quite a boring life. He doesn't have many friends. He has a dead-end job as a solicitor. People judges him by his look. He's always dressed as a carpet salesman, and he's friends with his old lady neighbor who has a dog, and he just was a little bit, and he ends up getting a bit of excitement in his life after he gets entangled with the girl that he's interested in. I really enjoyed this book. It was very easy to read, but it did keep me at the edge of my seat. I constantly wanting to know more. I think what I really love about this book is that each chapter ends on a cliffhanger, so you always get this urge of wanting to read more chapters, wanting to know more about Gary, wanting to know more about Emily, wanting to know more about wanting to know what's going to happen. Because the good thing about Satsuma Complex is that everything has a purpose, a bit like Grandmaster Demonic Cultivation. Actually, each character and each event has a purpose, and I really like that. I really like that at the beginning things are happening, you're unsure why, and then throughout the book everything is starting to connect, and I really love that. And so when I was reading the reviews of Goodreads, they were getting like 3 or 2, and I was a little bit confused, but again, it's a personal preference. I personally enjoyed it, and personally I was very shocked at how dark it was. It was quite dark. Yes, if you're very familiar with Bob Mortimer's humor, you do get his humor laced into the book, which I really like because I'm quite familiar with his humor, particularly of similar jokes that he did make in the past. So I like that kind of familiarity, but it did give me a surprise that he's gone down the darker route of this story, and I very much enjoyed that. Definitely. So yeah, I do recommend Satsuma Complex if you like things that are easy to read but does keep you on your toes, keep you at the edge of your seat, wanting to know more about the characters. And for a boring character that Gary is intended to be written as, he ends up being quite interesting. I always wanting to know more about Gary, so I quite like that. An average Joe dude, but it ends up being interesting because he ends up being in these quite unusual events that he just wasn't expecting to be in, and it's all because of this girl who was in a terrible situation. The next book that I read after that is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. Quite pissed at the moment. I can't find the book. I don't know where it's gone. I don't know if I lent it to someone. I might have lent it to my boyfriend, actually. He might have it, but I couldn't find it in my bookshelves. But I did read it. We do have it. It's just somewhere. But I very much enjoy this book. It is quite complex. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little confused at the beginning. I don't know what to expect. But then the more I understand the world, the more I do want to be in it. So it is about Kel. He is known as an Atari, and what the Ataris are. He's not the only Atari, but he is one of the few, and he has the ability to be able to travel through different Londons. And the different Londons we have are the red Londons that see magic as a normal way of life. We see the white London that are only a certain superior people have magic, and then but other I don't want to say commoners, but other people, other normal people are just always hungry for magic, even though the only people that have magic in there are the king and the queen, and it's quite a dystopian place essentially. We have the grey London, which is like normal London, the way we live, but it's owned by the King George III. Just in case people are unaware, King George III was known to be quite insane. He's portrayed, particularly in American shows, as an insane person, but in actuality, he didn't go like that until like the end of his life, when he was very ill. He was actually quite intelligent and has a very high interest in clocks. So that's all I know about King George III. But the way that they depict King George III, particularly in American mediums such as certain cartoons and films and things like that, like Hamilton, classified as quite insane, but that didn't happen until later in his life. But he shows to rule normal grey London, who are not as hungry for magic as people in white London, but is always aware and is intrigued by magic. So you have the enthusiasts who always just wants to get a bit of magic and would believe anything, saying, here is dirt, it contains magic, and they would happily get it. And then there are collectors who are much more sophisticated when it comes to magical artifacts and very well aware of how to handle certain magical artifacts without, being stupid about them. So that is grey London. And then there is black London, always considered the dead London. So I wish I have the book with me, because the cover is very interesting. Because in the cover, it shows Kel walking on like circles of parts of London, white London, red London, and grey London. You can see black outlines of London itself, as well as the River of Thames down the middle. Then there's black London, where you can't see anything because it's considered dead London. No one can get in, not even Kel, who has the ability to go to different Londons. It's very interesting. I absolutely love the cover. So it's and when Kel ends up going through London to sort out different situations that has been happening that involves the Black London, he ends up meeting a girl from grey London, who ends up being a thief. She tries to survive from stealing and from fighting, and then they end up getting together to stop the rulers of white London, who wanted to have control in everything, as well as another Atari who has the I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember, as well as another Atari who's tried to stop them, and who is also being controlled by the twins who rule white London, and ends up affecting other Londons along the way, especially red London, because there's also a king and queen there and wants to have control in everything. So it is a very good book. I am keeping an eye out for this second book. For some reason, it is quite difficult to find the second book. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm keeping an eye on it. I want to complete the series this year. That is my goal. That is my goal. I have so many goals for 2024. It's a bit silly. But yeah, the next book I have read, and I wasn't very fond of this one. Remember I said about Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation that just because you're focusing on the relationship between two main characters doesn't mean you should neglect the other characters that you made within the books. Well, unfortunately, this book did, and I was not happy with it. So this one is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. So I was not fond of this one. I'm not gonna lie. For such an easy read, it felt like a drag. And the same with the next book, which I will get into. Basically, it is about two characters named Adam. And fuck, I've forgotten her name. Olivia, I think. Oh god, I can't remember the girl's name. But I think that's the problem. I think the characters are not that memorable. But the reason why Adam was so memorable is because he's heavily based off the actor of Kylo Ren, who suspiciously is called Adam. So I feel like the book was just a blur. Like I was reading it and things are just not sucking in. So the thing is that she ended up kissing Kylo Ren basically in the middle of the night in the labs, and she's a PhD student and he is the teacher for PhD, and they end up kissing in the middle of the night in the labs, and the reason why she did that is to show her friend that she had moved on from the guy that she used to date because her best friend has a crush on him. Yeah. Make that as you go. And then they decided to fake date to prove to her best friend that she moved on. Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. It's a grumpy and sunshine relationship, and maybe that's just not the trope for me. I was like watching TikToks, and they do go crazy about this book. And also wasn't a fan of the cover as well. It just seemed very, very awkward. Everything was so awkward. Why was it awkward? Maybe because they were fake dating. Of course, things are going to be awkward, and the things that are supposed to be, they do get intimate. Then, and it's supposed to, and when you get to the intimate scene of the book, it's supposed to be hot. It's supposed to be steamy. It's supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be, a lot of anticipation. But to me, it just felt awkward and cringy. You're not supposed to feel like that through an intimate scene, particularly for the fact that I feel like their relationship has gone way too fast. The book started with the make-out sesh, for starters, without knowing of each other. Then they fake dating and tried to force certain situations between them, like the cafe dates once a week, or his shirt was off in a picnic and he somehow managed to push an entire truck to save people. I don't know what that was about. It was weird. It was strange. And then the sex scene happened at the end, and I just can't. I'm sorry. I wasn't a fan of this book. And again, the secondary characters are they're like NPCs of The Sims 4. They were just there. They hold like no kind of impact because I feel like that they there wasn't much depth to them. No, I tell a lie. So I think the two characters that fleshed out the most is Olivia's friend Malcolm. I do love Malcolm. I think he has a great personality, and Adam's friend slash Malcolm's boyfriend. I've forgotten his name. I think it's Dr. Rodriguez. Do correct me if I'm wrong, but I do like him. He's quite down to earth, quite good, quite wise, but also very funny. I do like him. So those are the only two secondary characters I genuinely like and would love to see more of. But the problem is that everyone else were just there, including the bad guy, and everything seems out of nowhere. Everything seems forced, and everything just seems very awkward. I don't know. I just don't like it. So that's I think I gave this one a 2 stars, if I remember. 1 star being Dr. Rodriguez and Malcolm are great characters. And that was it. So I'm really sorry. And I'm also not the fan of the whole Renlo, is it Renlo or Raylo pairing books? I don't know. It just gave me a bit of a weird feeling. It reminds me of the time when I went to the cinema to see the last Star Wars movie and Kylo Ren and Rey kissed and everyone in the cinema just groaned. That's how I felt with this book. I'm sorry, it felt really mean, but that's my opinion. Now, I didn't review this book because I've only just finished it on New Year's Eve, but I will count this into the list because, again, I've finished this book in New Year's Eve. But I will do a review that will come next Saturday, and this is, and I've actually got the physical one here. Oh yeah, the physical book of the Love Hypothesis I don't have because it was originally a library book, because I was unsure of to get it with my own money. I think I said in the review that, you know, it's something to be quite unsure about because it is considered as a Raylo fan fiction. So read the sample in Kindle first, or if you see it in the library, get it from the library and before you make a adamant decision of buying it, because when it comes to, you know, books that were originally fan fiction, it could be a hit or a miss. So do keep that in mind. But yes, back to the last book. I finished this on New Year's Eve and the review will come next Saturday. And this is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. This is another Grumpy Meets Sunshine book. It's a little better than The Love Hypothesis, but it still has similar flaws. I will say that. I will get into detail within the review, but it does have similar flaws where the two characters meet, they're attracted to each other, and end up in weird, awkward situations when they barely know each other. I just wish that there's more chemistry between them before any of that happens, if you catch my drift. But it was a little bit better. I will say that. There are some similar flaws from The Love Hypotheses. But it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. I'm not crazy over this. Again, the secondary characters are still there, are just there, and yeah. One thing I will say about this though is that it's very much more intel with simulation games, if that makes sense. So when I read into this, it does remind me of Stardew Valley. But I will get into more details as to why within the review. But if you like cozy games like Stardew Valley, My Time series, Haven, Harvest Moon, those kinds of things, then yeah, this is a cute book to go into. It has that vibe, but again, it's awkward. It's awkward. I I I I wasn't much into this as I thought I would. But I heard there's a sequel coming out of this book. So maybe I would like to have more depth with the world and with Dream Harbor. That's the world it's called, the little town, as well as the other characters. Because they mention characters, other characters, they say, oh yeah, this person likes this person, and then that's it. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me. So, but yes, I just finished this, and I will put more detail into the review next week. But yeah, that is all the books that I have read is a short summary. Do let me know which books very much interests you. I'm very, very curious. As for the books that I am going to read later on this year, there are so many books that I definitely want to read. Me and Bertie just got into an anime called The Apothecary Diaries, and I definitely want to read the mangas of that, as well as many other mangas such as Jujutsu Kaisen and One Piece. Yes, One Piece. God, that's going to be so huge. But whether I get into them, I don't know. But that's definitely future TBR. That's definitely the future's problem. We also got the Poppy War series, as well as the standalone by the same author, Yellowface. I'm very excited about them. I definitely want to read more MXTX series. I think I will reread the first book of Scumfin and Self-Saving System, so that I'll be able to continue the series within a flow. I've also just got a entire series of Percy Jackson from the second-hand bookshop, because me and my boyfriend absolutely love the Disney Plus show Percy Jackson. And I'm going to be honest, I have not read Percy Jackson. I have not. I definitely need to, as well as Artemis Fowl, because when I was a child, I hated books. But now that I really love books, this would be a great opportunity as a 30-year-old to read some old 2000s kids books. So there we go. So Artemis Fowl and Percy Jackson is definitely on the list. And help me out here. What other books do I need to read? I definitely want to get into more classics, particularly the Bronte sisters. I've checked out the Anne Bronte book. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called The Tyrant and Fall of something. I can't remember the full title. It's quite long, but I checked that out, an Anne Bronte book, and I definitely want to read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte and Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. So I definitely want to get into classics, and I thought the Bronte sisters would be a good starting point. Another thing would be Pride and Prejudice, but I'll keep an eye out in the library. But yeah, so much manga, so much books, so much classics, just so many things I just want to read. So yeah, it's going to be quite a lot. But yeah, thank you ever so much for joining me in my 2023 books I have read list. I do hope you very much enjoyed it. But yeah, thank you ever so much. I do hope that you're having a lovely start of the year so far, and I hope to see you again. Oh, also, I need to start doing this because I do want to get back into streaming. So for people who are unaware, I do stream on Twitch as well. I'm very much a gamer as well as a reader. So I stream on Twitch. Its tag name is Lily_Tiger. The link is in the description. And I currently streaming. Help me out here. Well, I'm currently streaming My Time at Sandrock on Fridays, Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch on Saturdays, as well as playing Crash Team Rumble with as well as viewer games of Crash Team Rumble on Sunday. So if you're interested in any of them, do come by and say hi. I do greatly appreciate you lovelies. And anyway, do take care, have a wonderful rest of your day, and hopefully I should see you guys soon. Bye bye!